man, I didn't know your dad was a Baptist preacher. My father was a Baptist preacher. And so I grew up in that world. So, I mean, God, do you believe in God? I mean, do you feel like it plays a role in our lives?
I do. I mean, I'm born again. I believe that Jesus Christ, is the only redemption for mankind, and I believe that his death on the cross paid the price for our sin, and it's the only way to the Father. And yeah, you can't leave out the role that God and His plan and our relationship with Him plays. But I have a very troubled past with organized religion, and so I'm not much in that arena anymore. I'll just put it like that.
Well, just to fill you in, I feel like my father and my mother put in everything into these churches that we worked with, and it felt like it just chewed us up and spit us out, broke and broken. And we felt like a pariah to the church people, and then we felt like regular people didn't like us, or we were, those people, the Christians.
Yeah.
And I made a choice young to not turn from that. I would agree. Organized religion, I have a kind of a hard, I have a problem with it.
Right.
But a lot of my friends turned away. They don't go to church. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in Jesus. And that was something I was like, no, I actually truly do believe in a God. I was like, I look at the world, I look at the universe. I'm like, I just don't think this just came from nothing, man.
Right.
And I appreciate the fact that you talked about it, because a lot of people are afraid to talk about God.
Yeah. No, I didn't lose my faith. Nothing like that. It's just, somehow over the years, the church has lost its ability to get out of its own way and to get out of God's way. And I just didn't want to be a part of it anymore.
I 100% agree with that, because a lot of times I felt like the religion got in the way of me actually having a relationship with God. Right. I was so worried about what that person would think that I wasn't actually reading the Bible. I wasn't praying. I was so worried about what man thought. And I was like, this is a religion.
Yeah. And
some people, I feel like they do need some structure to help them, but
and that's not everybody's experience, and that's not every church. Like we all go to, our church, and I think that faith community for me is a big reason why I keep going. It's the people, it's the support system, and I think that you're a pretty solitary guy. And so, for you, that certainly may not be, a necessity, but
this church is the horse and the wilderness.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. For me, I need the group, and but it's not to say that, the church community isn't, like there's plenty of opportunity for bad things and bad people.
Yeah.
And,
you don't, it's like anything else in life. You don't want to paint with too broad a brush.
Yeah.
And I, by no means, I don't, all of my children, they all attend services regular, and, and we fully support it. And so it's not an attack against anything or anybody.
Oh yeah.
It's just where we got.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been relatively open, that I'm a man of faith on there, but I don't talk about that. And that's a conscious decision. And my dad and I had this discussion. He wanted to know why I didn't, discuss it more openly and actively on the channel. That kind of bothered him. And, but I'm like, there are places all over this planet, more or less, where you can go and somebody will be happy to tell you about Jesus, but you can't go to church, at least the churches I've been in, and be told how to be a good man. There's a lot of quote unquote Christian men out there that don't know how to be good, calm, solid, dependable men. And it has nothing to do with religion. And so I'm like, here's a message that needs to be out, and it needs to not be filtered. It needs to not be filtered. And, and I have, and then, I have Christians that get on the channel and they kind of reprimand me.
Really?
Yeah, the Christians reprimand me more than anybody.
Really?
Yeah.
Those Christians.
It's Dave and I were on there like,
I know. I was like, I could see the signature there. No, but they're like, all this is foolishness. All you need is Jesus. You just need Jesus.
We get that sometimes too.
And but I, I'm like, well, listen. So if you're saying that means you believe in Jesus and you believe the Bible. All right. So God the Father had Jesus born under the tutelage of Joseph, who was a godly and honorable man. Why? Because God needed to be taught how to be a good man by another good man. And if God, now I'm going to get hung for this, I'm going to be burnt in effigy for this, okay? But when God became man, I believe that Jesus was God, and all man. When God became man, if his God side wasn't enough, how in the world can us just knowing God be enough? If all we need to do is know God, we don't need the Proverbs. We don't need Ecclesiastes. We don't need the parts of the Bible that tell us how to live right. Jesus didn't need Joseph. Isaac didn't need Abraham. They didn't need good, godly fathers, good, solid men, teaching them how to be good, solid men. We can just be flippant. You just need religion. You just need God. Well, I've been in church. I was 8 days old in the first service I went to.
Wow.
As soon as my mom got out of the been my whole life. Church is full of men that ain't got a clue on how to be good men. And they've been under the Bible their whole life. So,
I agree with that.
I don't buy it.
Yeah.
I just got fired up a little bit.
Well, I get fired up with that too, because I've been in churches where I've heard guys say there's no reason on earth why you should be violent. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I've got 5 sisters. I've had to fight off a few idiots in my life. I'm pretty sure violence was the answer. Well, no, it's not. That's what they would tell me. And I'm like, a good godly man wouldn't be, riled to anger. I was like, I wasn't angry. I was pissed.
Yeah, so the Bible is filled with stories of violence on behalf of the kingdom of God. I mean, David, everybody talks about David and Goliath and how, David defeated a giant. After he defeated the giant, he cut off the giant's head with the giant's own sword.
Well, what a gangster move.
Right?
Well, let's go to Jesus cleaning out the temple.
Yeah.
He walked in and saw the money changers and how they were polluting the temple. He calmly turned around and walked back out of the temple, went and found the materials, and made himself a whip, a cat of 9 tails, and went back in with deliberate malice aforethought and violently, physically overthrew the tables and drove them out of the temple.
Jesus Christ, gangster move.
Gangster move.
Hey, thanks for watching this clip. If you want to see the full podcast, be sure to click on the link in the description. And if you feel like it, hit subscribe.